What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we're taking a look at the version 2.0 of the Something Obscene company JCape. So this is gonna be kind of a faster review because I'm gonna link the review of the original JCape. I'm gonna put a link somewhere up there and in the description down below. So you can see, if you want to see the full review of the knife, I'm going to kind of be pointing out the differences of this knife versus the original version of the knife. So let me just tell you what happened. Something Obscene company, what they did for the version 2.0 is, so they had kind of their standard version of the knife, but then they kind of partnered up with a bunch of different people, Reverse Edge Cutlery, St. Nick's Knives, Blade HQ, a lot of people, and I don't know if all the ones I said are for sure, but a bunch of different retailers, and they created kind of unique versions of the knife. So the one that you're seeing here is the collaboration between Something Obscene company and Gecko Customs. So I decided to pick this one because I really like this carbon fiber. It has this kind of green and yellow, and it actually, if you see here in the back, you can see there's blue. So I really like this combination of carbon fiber, and so this is the version of the knife that I decided to go with. But that's not the only reason that I decided to go with to pull the trigger on the 2.0. I'm going to be going over some of the things that made me pull the trigger. But let me just give you, for those of you who haven't seen it or who don't want to see it. So this is the comparison in size to the first version of the JCape. So as you can see, kind of very obviously very similar blades. Very similar a lot of things. Okay, I think that the only true difference that you're gonna see, I think it's in the thickness, and I'm gonna talk about that here in a little bit. So that's against the original JCape. Let me give you some other size comparisons. That's a pair of 3. That's a pair of 2. Okay. So again, all of this is in the original review. I just want to, if in case you don't want to go see that first review, I'll just give you kind of a faster version of the review. So that's against the full-size bug out, and that's the mini bug out. And then just one final one in case you want to see that. This one is the mini JCape. So there you go. So in the original review, I said that I really liked the JCape, but what I said was that it was a tale of two knives, right? I felt that you had an incredible design from here on out on the blade and everything that is involved with the blade. You got a compound grind, a hollow grind here, a flat grind here. You got a very prominent switch. The play of all of those grind lines going in different directions. The belt, the satin going left and right. The jimping, the kind of harpoonish looking blade. I thought there's a lot going on this blade, and I like it. I quite a bit like it, and hopefully all of those grinds are coming across. Yeah, so hopefully you can see all of that. It looks much better in person, if I'm honest. But what I said was that there was nothing happening in the back. In the back of the scales, as you can see, basically these are just two on the original one. Basically, these are just two slabs of titanium. That's all that they are. They are internally milled, but they're just flat. It feels, you've got some contouring this, so it makes it somewhat ergonomic. But the fact that it's flat, it makes it detracts a little bit from the ergonomics. And if I'm honest, it's just from here on back, it's just plain boring. There's nothing that would encourage me to buy the knife by looking at the back side of the knife. So when they did the version 2.0, the first thing that I noticed, well, and I'll show you here if I can get them. It's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit thicker. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully that comes across. This one is a little bit thicker, and part of the reason that it is thicker is, well, one, they wanted to do the inlay, so you need a little bit thicker material to kind of inlay something into it. But they've contoured the scales. I don't know if that'll come across, but there's a slight curve in this direction. So now it's not just a flat slab of titanium, right? I think this is a far more compelling design, a far more attractive knife because of what is going on in the back. Now, like I said, they had some versions with DLC, black DLC, and this carbon fiber. They had, I think St. Nick's Knives had their kind of red and black, kind of magma looking carbon fiber. So you had, oh, actually, I might be able to, yeah. So I think St. Nick's Knives had this carbon fiber. This is their Raptor exclusive, this carbon fiber. So they had that in there. And even more prominently in the back, right? Because now what you have is, not only is it more interesting with the carbon fiber inlay, right? You have, this is more of a bolster lock than a frame lock, right? You could make the argument either way, but you know, you can see where part of the frame lock is kind of protected or covered by the carbon fiber inlay. So I think from aesthetics and from a design standpoint, this is actually a pretty good evolution of a knife that I thought had an incredible designed blade, but the scales were kind of an afterthought. It wasn't very good in my opinion. This was just really plain. Now, the other thing that they did is they did some stuff around the pivot. So there's a pivot collar going around here, and you can see it more clearly in the back. So it matches kind of the carbon fiber that you got here. You match it in the pivot collar. So again, some details that make it so that it's more interesting. Now, another thing that they did is, I mentioned, see, this clip that you see on my original JCape was an aftermarket. Well, it's an OEM aftermarket clip, right? I had to buy it. I bought it directly from something Obscene company, but the one that it came with was this one. Was this? Actually, you can see it also on my mini JCape. And well, the Thunderbolt looks cool for those who like that kind of thing. It is a horrible design of a clip. It is a horrible design of a clip because this is a sawtooth going up, and that's a sawtooth going down. So this going in and out of your pocket just destroys your pocket going in, and then it destroys your pocket going out, and it catches constantly. And I think that it got to the point where he decided to make this design where the Thunderbolt is kind of inset on this outline, which is a much better design. So the new one came with this standard. This came with out of the box. Now, another improvement that he did is now the screws are hidden. If you can take a look at the original one and the aftermarket one, this one has the screws that are hidden. So now you don't have to see they're screwed from the inside. So between the fact that they've have inlays on the scales, they've contoured them, they've given you a bunch of variety with a lot of different options for if you wanted to buy a different one from somebody else, you could. So it gives you a different look. The contouring, the pocket clip, the bolster lock, all of these things, they amount to a pretty good evolutionary step. It's not just a small improvement. I think it's a drastic improvement of a portion of the knife that I thought was neglected to begin with. So I think the action is really, really good on these things. My new one, I decided to get it with the dual deployment system, so you can use the flipper, you can use the thumb stud. As you can see, there's no thumb stud on this. You could get flipper only, thumb stud only, or dual opening system on this. So I think you can still find these. So you may want to check. But there's options there. So, but what I do want to say is, I think that the original JCape is a really good knife. It was a little bit plain for me, especially on the scale side. I thought that attention was needed there. And I mean, obviously, my channel is just tiny, so I don't think they're listening to me. But I think I hit the nail on the head, right? Because the fact that a lot of the stuff that I talked about in my review, they basically changed nothing on the blade. The blade is essentially the same. There's nothing I can point at that I see that changed on the blade. Kind of the grinds are the same. They're made by Riot, so it's really high quality OEM. But I think that they knew that they needed to put more work into the handle, into the scale side of the knife, and they did so. And you can see it in a bunch of different ways, right? The screws are now hidden. They did the pocket clip better. They hid the screws for the lock bar insert. You can see it here. You got a pivot color that you didn't have before. All of these things make the version 2.0 significantly better, in my opinion. Now, from a cutting standpoint, like I said, the blade doesn't change, so you're gonna have pretty much the same experience cutting. But from an enthusiast, from a hobbyist, from a collector, from somebody who not only likes to use his knives and to actually look at them, collect them, display them, and fidget with them, this is an incredible leap forward. This is just a much better, it feels like a more complete, more refined version of the knife. So guys, like I said, this is more of a, if you want to hear me talk about the action and the ergonomics and the fit and finish and all of those things, go look at my first review. I would say that the fit and finish on this inlace is phenomenal. If you close your eyes and you rub your finger through it, you can't tell where you go from a titanium to the carbon fiber. Riyadh just does an awesome job. But if you want to dive into depth into all of those things, instead of just kind of the highlights of the differences, then do go watch that other one. The final difference that I noticed is on the front. The distance. If you see this line of the I don't know if you want to call it the bolster, but the edge of the scale here is flat. They have now rounded it in this version, which I think is a much better option. It looked a little weird, or the space in here looked a little weird. Now, I don't know if this is the reason, but I'm gonna give you my hypothesis here. I was thinking of doing a wood overlay for this knife because I didn't like the plain flat face of this side, and I was thinking of kind of doing a wood overlay, and I was thinking how I was gonna do this area. But the problem is you get to that little that little sliver right there between this edge and the pivot, and I don't think I can get a solid piece of wood, you know, to go all around the pivot. So when I was designing and I was thinking about it, I thought, well, maybe it just kind of creates a C, or maybe I stop somewhere over here, you know, just something, but I wouldn't be able to come across, you know, around the pivot. Now, I don't know if that's the reason that he made this change. First, I think this looks more attractive, you know, I think it flows a little bit better. But what it also does is it increases your distance from the edge of the pivot to the front face of the knife. So it creates, I think, it creates all in all a much better looking knife, in my opinion. So the version 2.0 is going to remain in my collection. This one I like quite a bit. I think it's probably one of the most interesting blades in my collection, the blade shape, and this is a very good knife. I enjoy this knife quite a bit. I haven't had it for long. I think I've had it for about a week, but already I think it's a far superior design. And like I said, nobody's listening to me, right? Nobody from Something Obscene is looking at my videos and taking my input into consideration. But man, you know, it seems like they did, because everything that I talked about, it's something that they addressed. So hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. And if you did, then like and subscribe, only if I deserve it. And don't hit the notification, don't hit the bell, and nobody likes to get more reminders of anything. If you want to see my content, you'll come and find it. Okay, until I see you at the next one, take care.